Welcome to Dev Kami 189, and it's not a prime number, of course. This because this is a factor of 9. Very obvious. Where is Tristan? You may think. Well, let's start with introductions first. My name is Sui.
My name is Chi Leong.
Then
Let me show my face instead of.
and Tristan is actually supporting the arts, of course. So there's a art show at KLPAC. So they use it to. I mean,
He's also doing arts.
Yeah. So yes. So
he attended his concert last year.
2 years back.
Oh,
pre-COVID.
Shit. No,
Yes.
3 years back.
Yes.
3 years back, not even 2. 2019.
Yes. So yeah. So that happened. So either way, he'll be busy. The show will finish about now, so it'll be too late for him anyway. Either way.
Yeah.
So let's start with Newsday, as usual.
What's happening? A lot of security news.
Correct. First, I saw a tab here.
Nice.
Very important. The I'm going to say this, but it's controversial. But I think the panda habitat is overrated.
Yeah, and they took up all the budgets, right? From what I heard.
Correct. And the reason is panda does not live in a tropical country.
Oh, so it has to be I don't know.
A bit cool, so that it's very important for them to be cool. So
a lot of 0 days.
Yes, there's a lot of 0 days, to be honest. Okay, let me start with one by one. Block. First, there is various hardware and firmware vulnerabilities. So this one, let's start with event first. Actually, what the hell am I thinking? We actually have one event next week, which is not on our calendar because Tevin did not put things on our calendar. I mean, there is one for Tech Up in August. Then there is more importantly, there is actually the DevOps meetup happening on Wednesday. So yeah, this one is sponsored by Confluence, which is a streaming processing company, I believe. Or what do they provide again? Yeah, there's streaming data. So talking about Kafka, the thing. There's alternative to RabbitMQ and whatnot. So yeah. So it will be held in Equatorial Plaza, Kuala Lumpur, which is actually at the WeWork, Jalan Sultan Ismail. Is it close? Okay, which part of Jalan Sultan Ismail? Let me find out. I know it's near KLCC, but is it reachable from KLCC? Huh?
Is it close to you?
No, it's not. Okay, it's a bit far actually. So either way, go to the event. Quite interesting talk. So of course, because of Confluent, they talk about stream processing. Then there's Bus Corner. Then there's also 1 day journey to Firewall in production. Then there's wrap up. So it's a short event. So yeah. So if you're interested, join. I might join, but there's only 12 spots left. So first come, first serve. So if I can't get it, I just won't go. But it is what it is. So that's the event next week. Then we can finally talk about hardware vulnerabilities. So first
it's a lot of vulnerabilities.
Yes, correct. So of course you have the old one that you know. Then there's Heartbleed and Hertzbleed. Then there's a lot of these are actually
Windows, Mac. They have emergency updates as well.
Correct. So it's pretty bad. So yeah lah. So if you update your computers, a lot of it is you can't replace the hardware, but take the software vulnerabilities anyway. So yeah. So this one more interesting. Traditionally, when you attempt to do secret analysis for hardware product. We're talking about the IoT devices, your routers, your CCTV and whatnot. One problem is those things actually runs on proprietary hardware. So what you may dump out a binary, but working on it is a bit tricky. So this week is actually DevCon week, probably a bit more. I think it's a 1 week plus event. So one of the thing that one of the researchers show is actually OFRAC. It's an open source firmware reverse analysis console. Yeah, don't ask me why they use K. It's weird. So what they do is they can unpack binaries, they can analyze a binary and can modify it and repack. So you can use this. They actually use this to actually analyze file systems, bootloaders, and the real-time OS and OS kernels. So they provide all APIs and whatnot. So with this, you can actually analyze the firmware. So do you remember in one year in Hack in the Box, where the Hack in the Box guys actually managed to reverse engineer the router? Actually, it's not a router. Is it a router or it's a dongle, USB dongle?
The Huawei one, right?
Yeah. It's actually used
they
by
have lawyers sitting in the audience.
Yes.
A row
Correct.
of them, I remember.
Correct. It's so bad. Did they manage to disclose the vulnerabilities? No, right?
I don't know. I was.
I don't remember, but I heard the stories. It's pretty complicated. But what happened is now you have the tools to do the same thing lah. So what they do is actually reverse engineer the firmware on the device itself. So, and typical business that got sued instead, so it get complicated. So yeah, if you're interested in it, so look into it. It's very new and probably not something I will circle knows, but who knows? Maybe one of you discover this channel and want to learn something. So yeah, next one. Okay, not security. So this is called I do not know how to pronounce this. Sqlite, I don't know. So this actually a terminal workspace with batteries included. So they can actually have they make your terminal workspace fancy. It's short. So you get all the resize and all that. So it's like traditionally you use things like Tmux or Screen for this, but for this they will use Tmux plus a lot of the plugin to make it like this lah. So it used to be this thing is very hard and it's still very hard. So at least this guy actually do it for you, so you don't have to worry about this. So yeah, if you want to look into that lah. So what is interesting from here? So that they try to have plugin user experience, then the configuration. So all these are the wish list. So so and yeah. This one, but Tristan on the other hand do not like it, so he actually suggests to look at where the hell. Give me a moment, let me close all my window. Tap here, very important, and devcami.com podcast. Yes.
More important than tiger.
Yes.
Or panda.
Oh, which by the way, I think the panda is so unimportant because it's not even endangered anymore. You should use this to. They should actually use
and
this.
They take up so much money, right?
Yeah, and the tiger on the other hand are actually endangered. Okay, let's back to this. So Tristan on the other hand prefer to use Teammate, and the reason for that is Teammate is actually useful for sharing terminal across team. It's a very different goal. But Teammate actually is a fork of Tmux, and so then what happened then is once you have Tmux, they actually for some reason send a message over to teammate.io and you can SSH over. With this, you can actually allow others to join your session. So this is actually very useful for pair programming, where two people actually look at one terminal and do things. So yeah, this is interesting, but scary. But this is interesting. But security wise, it's they also go through NAT and all that with SSH key. So they have all the proxy and all that. So in theory, it should be safe, but I can't. I need to find out for real. So yeah, you want to make your terminal fancy, there's two options, Zelish and of course Teammate. Have you tried any of these? Have you tried any of these?
No, really.
Okay. I'm so old school. I'm still on GNU screen. So
I'm on something called Biobu.
Yeah, that's a fork of screen, I think.
It's not a
Or was
fork,
it
it's a
Tmux?
abstracted level. So it's at underneath is you can choose either screen or Tmux. It just unify the shortcuts.
Right. Okay. So this one, okay, let's talk about what is Fly.io. So because of this important in a way that next week, Asirik is talking about Fly.io, which is interesting, but he tried 1 year already. So I have something to add on top of this. Then what happened then is these guys that actually say SQLite help you do ACID, as in I don't remember acronym. No, it's not the drug. It's actually isolation and all that. So they talk about so SQLite actually support transaction. So they actually create a journal.
It's just the type is the loose.
Correct, it's loose. So it's not strict, but they provide you a journal so that as you build it, they can keep track of it and they can roll back. So every time you create DB, they have to create a journal headers, then they will update it and all that. So as a result, it would actually help you to roll back when you need to roll back when the transaction did not complete. So with that said, and yeah, this actually is a very cool article because this actually shows how things work. And SQLite is not really a toy database. It's just very used. It's something to get used to, but you probably want a big SQLite to proper handling of networking and all that. But SQLite can handle stuff very well actually, even though people treat it like toys. So then I go to Fly.io. Fly.io is an alternative to Heroku, I think. So they actually ship a Docker. The difference is ship a Docker image, then they add the regions and all that. In theory, very cool. So recently I have this little question at workplace. So everyone is very comfortable with lambdas. So there's a consequence for it. The consequence is that there's a question for various reasons. What if we have to deploy to enterprise customer? It's not a business. It's a question asked to team for reason that is internal, right? So
just to give them situations.
Well, it can be. There's an internal reason for it, which I can't really say why, but there's a question that's posited lah. So what we're going to do? Then you will see the face, like everybody face changes and all that.
Really?
And so it's like, why? No, okay, it's not that lah, but people don't have an answer. People don't actually have an answer. Okay, people don't actually have an answer for that. I mean, my team's answer is we planning to do Kubernetes one day anyway. So
one day,
yeah. But we don't build the application, so there's that lah. So that's my little thing about all these convenience tools lah. I mean, convenience tools is convenience, it's convenient, but you need to know how to use this without the convenience. But that's just me. No, I mean that's just me. So what you think? Do you think we should? I mean, we should use this, but
just check it out.
Yeah, I know, but you also need to make sure your team. Do you actually make sure that your team know the old way of doing things, or you just don't care?
We are not don't have a luxury of not knowing what we're doing.
Yeah. You work on those customers as well, right? Yeah, I know.
So, we know we had to deliver. It is the difference.
Yes. So yeah lah. So next one is okay. Microsoft open sources is 3D emoji to let a creator remix and customize them. So so they can use it on Figma and all that, which is very cool. So it makes your interface make your interface consistent across that. So that's one. The more important one is you can make it 3D. You can do your own design. You can remix it for reason that I don't understand, but yes, you can remix it. So yeah lah. What do you think? Weird or meh? Meh.
Yeah.
we got more important thing to talk about, like security. Like this
Yes.
one. So fileless malware is a thing, and now one way to deploy is through a rogue PyPI packages. The library is called Sqlite. Is secrets batching and verification made easy, blah blah. So what happened then is this package is downloaded 93 times before it got detected. Then it will run crypto miners on Linux machine, yay, directly on the RAM through fileless malware and cryptos. So this is just a miner that eats up your credit. Do they do extra stuff? I do not know yet, but this is what is reported lah. So what they do is they drop a ERF file directly to memory and to function as a miner, then deleted it. After that, it will get deleted by the package. Then it leave no footprint, which very scary because it make investigation hard. It's already on top of something that not many people among circle anyway. No, now you make it a lot harder. So yeah, as usual, be careful with your packages. Watch what you download, among many things. So and be careful about it. Do you get it before? Do you get attacked by crypto miner before?
We did. Even our I can say that because it was a while ago. Is that even our internal infra?
Right.
So it's just don't normalize deviance. So if you see their unusual activities like CPU and stuff, just don't
Yes.
normalize it and go and check it out.
Correct. Learn your monitoring, please. I know at least in the older circles, it's common that when we install Linux servers, we will set up monit. When in on app, I use shit. Did I use monit or we use something else? I know we use something else. I don't remember the name. Then there is a lot of these things are a bit old school. They're PostScript, for goodness sake, to monitor the system, but start learning them. Nowadays, one of my project that I try to do right now is to use things like Prometheus, very easy to do with collectors and all that. And they have a lot of default collectors already ready to use. There's a cost for it. The cost for it is you need to set up your own thing, or you can pay for it. But to justify it, at this economy, you better do. On the other hand, a crypto miner is a very good justification, just so you know. So either way, learn your monitoring system. So one thing I'm looking at right now is actually Prometheus plus Grafana monitoring. So this is what I do looking at. It's a database, but it also have
Grafana is
collectors.
the visualization lah. So Prometheus
Correct.
is the collector.
It's a collection. It's a collector. Put it this way. It's a database with collection to collect data. So yeah. So you can write client libraries. You can get the basic first before you write. Worry about custom matrices. So, yep. Learn it and it's useful. Next one.
It's not hard.
Yes.
For something that I like for error also is Sentry.
Sentry, yes. Sentry is awesome. Yep, correct.
The hosted version, if it's not much messages, is cheap enough. And then
Just don't print
if you want to self-host, you can self-host easily as well.
Correct. But please don't print everything from your log, please. I mean, it get noisy, then you get alert fatigue and all that.
Yeah.
So
If you have error fatigue, is something is wrong.
yeah, correct. So yeah lah. Next one, SQLite is not a database. We already said that just now. Uh, all most operating desktop operating system have it. Servers operating definitely have it. It's serverless. SQLite is serverless. Yay.
Yeah.
And it's actually embedded, as in it's part of. It's not a file. It's actually a C library that you can embed to your application. Of course, there actually there's all the utilities, but primarily one of the thing about SQLite is actually SQLite is actually a library as much as a database. So it's a library to create databases. So because it's designed for embedded system, as in not your Arduino, but more like warships, destroyers, the Navy computers. So it's designed to be embedded. So yeah, it's actually for something that is so they so ubiquitous. It's actually very powerful, as you can see. So for example, it can output to JSON, it can output to CSV, and it can insert JSON value and actually do the handling. It can do commutable expression. It can do a select union. The SQL command is very standard and very complete. They have all the standard math stuff, enough, but not complete, but enough. You can log database if you need to. It's possible to run a website on SQLite, not a problem. We did that once, and so I don't write that much. Full text search work out of the box. It's very good. It's actually very good. And
It's something that
uh-huh.
I was really when I was doing Python is something that is I think
Yes,
we're really proud about.
correct. So
SQLite support.
yes. So the first thing we're thinking, like, we have database support. Yes, we do. We do not need to install database.
And it's so
We
easy.
don't.
Like it's so much different from, like, let's say moving from PHP or others back then. Is that when we do development, we just use SQLite. So
And you know what's the crazy part? Python actually have multiple database. For example, they used to have Berkeley DB, drop already. They don't have Berkeley DB anymore. They don't have the key value database anymore. You know what is kept? SQLite 3. And that is nuts. Okay, that is nuts. And that is actually and it is default using the standard DP API 2.0. It's a standard interface to talk to database. So it's actually possible for you to wrap things up and just throw things. That's how ORM works. ORM by default would have SQLite support without anything extra. Then you can add connector later because they use the same interface. It's crazy, but yeah. So so SQLite is actually very powerful, available everywhere. So I think nowadays
check it out.
most language
A
have
lot
it.
of people
Yeah.
actually didn't know, especially when I expose it to juniors, is that they didn't know that there is this thing that they can try to learn database directly.
Yeah. So you want to know the another reason why you may want to look at data set. This is more of open data guys, but if you're data science people, this is actually one way to share data. So what this does is they actually wrap behind the scene is actually SQLite, but they wrap a lot of things behind it with interface and all that. So it's so that you can actually have you just want to publish some basic data out for your organization. Data set is a solution, and how they use SQLite behind it. So the data set the open data people actually use this quite a lot when they do not want to spend too much time hosting the application. are building all the hosting, all the infrastructure. They just insert the data through to a data set and just get it done.
Yep.
So yeah. So just so you know. Next one. So next one is 3D emoji, Sqlite, stable diffusion.
Diffusion, awesome.
Awesome. So stable diffusion is actually an alternative to what's the name called?
It's
DALL-E 2. Yep. So which I already have, by the way. But this one is open source. This one is
and
open source.
self-host.
You can self-host on your GPU. In this case, you're still talking about pretty big GPU, but the point is you can run it. So good thing about this, you can run it on your computer, but this is not the most, how I would say, this is not okay. So there's consequence for it. For one, there's no restriction. Unlike DALL-E, you actually cannot use a person name. So in this case, you cannot use celebrity. You cannot put a celebrity. Yep. You can. Does DALL-E generate faces?
Not really.
Actually, okay. So this allows you to generate faces. And yeah, so there's danger, but the catch is this freedom. So much. So yeah, if you have the hardware able to run it, use it. Use it for good. Don't not evil. I can only ask you for that. I just only glad that GPU are not too cheap yet. But as I say, a DALL-E is pretty powerful. So for example, I'm going to try to do this. Continue with Google. I wonder if one of my query, I did try to generate people before. It actually worked. I do not know whether it still does. This one, they actually did that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
But it's things that is safe to generate.
Actually, this is not actually safe to generate. You know why? Often when you want to con a person to show, one of the easiest way for you, one of the way for you to, what's this? Oh, my phone dropped. Crap. One of the way for you to actually gain trust is to show that you are a reliable person. Okay, reliable person, and one of the way to show you're a reliable person is to put yourself as a middle-aged person. So this is actually dangerous. Before I reported it, I do not know whether it will, anything will happen, but yeah. But this will actually, I do not know the behavior for this. For this case, where very great again, just breaks. So yes. So either way, stable diffusion. If you want it, use it. Please don't use it. Please use it for good and not evil, and that's all we can ask you for it. So I'm going to move on. Tap here again, Confluent again, Prometheus again, DALL-E. Okay, come back to you again. Then standard ebooks. Do you know what is standard ebooks?
Yes.
So they actually
they format the ebooks into a
correct.
more modern and readable formats.
Correct. So they actually take books from public domain books and reformat it so that you can read it on modern devices, which is very awesome. So, and what books do they have? So in fact, there is quite a lot of books that is already open. So an example is Sherlock Holmes. So the Arthur Conan Doyle's are all already open. Then of course you want to talk about War of the World. Again, already open. So give me something from the last century. The Lost World. Not Jurassic Park. It's something that go before Jurassic Park. Yeah, Arthur Conan Doyle. So Yeah, but you will not get token here. It's too
The one that
it's
is
too
like
new.
that for me back then was the Wern's stories, like Journey to
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Center of the Earth.
Correct. Journey, and more importantly, to the center. There's a French version for it of the Earth, and of course, 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So, let's put Jules Verne. Jules Verne. It may not have that. Yeah, search for Castaway. The Jules Verne.
It's a done by volunteer work. So
Correct. Correct.
it's
So it's good. It's open source. It's the spirit of contributing for people, and yeah, support them if they need the money, but they don't get involved. You see, donate.
if you see the books there and you have a rebook reader, standing
Yep.
ebooks are actually more pleasant to read.
Correct. So yeah, either way, they can use some help and they can use some money. So that's that. So I'm gonna move on. I'm so sorry. How do I reopen Coast tab? So Loba, actually, this is yet another library to create a progress bar for Python, but this is text only, it seems. But most of the progress bar is just that it's a lot nicer. So yeah, if you need it, you can use it. It's pretty. The API looks easy to use. So yep, I'm going to move on. DigitalOcean dumps MailChimp after attack leak customer email account.
I understand why, because it might be used to like sometimes the two-factor the verification code might be able to intercept.
Correct. So yeah, so sometimes they use MailChimp for that, right? It's a bad so
No, it's
my
not a use
problem-
MailChimp because they are using it to send email out to the customers.
Right.
Yeah, it might be intercepted. So
right. So okay. What's other alternative do you have there? What's the question?
they're using MailChimp as well.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Unless
Unless you want to host.
that's the thing.
Actually, the other alternative is actually Amazon's mail service. That's one if you need it that exists. The email is mostly trusted. As long as domain is trusted, that thing is trusted. So set up a DK. Once you set a DKIM, it mostly would work. So I tried that. Very few drop email. It happens, but very few is negligible. So yeah, DigitalOcean drop it. Maybe you guys have to decide yourself, lah. This one, something to talk about security. So this is a new project called Pip Audit. So Pip Audit is like this. Remember just now we're talking about a crypto miner in PyPI. So this person, Dustin Ingram, actually proposed adding Pip Audit as Pip to Pip as a subcommand. So Pip space audit, and yeah, this so that you can actually scan Python environment for known vulnerabilities. So in this case, the check against security, the check against adversary database via PyPI JSON API, and they also check again, and they also check from there. You check against like your package version, your do they actually talk about row package? Let me find out. Let me look into this. Let me look.
Yeah, but something that I use for everything is Trivia.
Yeah, Trivia for that. Correct.
It's
But
nice.
it's good.
This is the raw source database, so it's
Correct. Yes.
It's not a competition.
No, it's not. So either way, this is a good idea because if this is part of the default PyPI package, then it's at least safer than nothing. Provided they actually maintain it. So yeah, I think this is a good idea. I'm plan, and they plan to actually transfer this to packaging authority. So with this, it will be part of PyPI command, and it will be maintained lah. So I'm looking forward to this, to be honest. Even though I'm not a Python programmer at work anymore, but I still use Python in my side project, and that's the only reason really. So yep, next one, Pip Audit done, advisory database done. .NET 6 is down in Ubuntu 20.04, and hell did not froze over. So no, this
.NET is now .NET is what we used to be called .NET Core.
Correct. So now the thing is available officially on Ubuntu 20.24, and so they actually is also used. .NET is also available in Ubuntu containers. So this is a very weird situation for me because how many .NET developers actually deploys on Linux that I know of? I can't think of any because a lot of them have to work on old-ish environment, right? As in, they're not going. The whole team is built around old .NET teams, so I don't think they're going to change anytime soon. Even though individually they may know how to use Linux, I mean, so interesting because we are alternative platform for .NET users. Also interesting because if we do it well, then we are actually seeing opportunity to move .NET applications from Windows servers to a Linux system. Even though I don't think it will be any cheaper.
But if they are, I think if they are using .NET 6, is that the problem is that a lot of the time is that they are not moving.
Correct. That's the
old .NET. I think a lot of the issue with even I heard complaints from .NET developers is that the organization doesn't want to change.
Correct. Even though, yes, precisely, it's something that we already know, so I do not know. So I can't tell what's the implication for this, to be honest. More platform for us, awesome. More platform for us is awesome, but in practice, the open source guys have scripting languages, so we already had a language that is cross-platform and all that. Is called Java, and it's not the worst language around. Even though .NET have a lot of synthetic sugar and make things very nice, but really though, in practice, what's the implication? I can't tell, to be honest. I can't really tell.
Can't believe that Java and .NET dominates the market at least 20 years ago.
Correct. So even though our circle is like we use Python for data science and all that. So either way,
I mean, not right now. Is that back then we use it for system programming?
Correct. So yeah, this announcement, and if you're interested, look into that, and it's awesome. Next one, happy birthday, GNOME. Then
which one is GNOME? Which version?
I don't know. So it started from and it's 25 years already. So in August 15, development is announced following. So it got a desktop. In 1999, it got 1.0. This is very interesting. Those days we actually had a very those days is early 2000s. There's actually a very strong competition between KDE and GNOMEs.
I think the problem with KDE back then that affected us was that Qt was proprietary.
Correct. So nowadays, GNOME is the default desktop, which I find very interesting. So, but Linux is cool because you can play around with the desktop. So yeah, and GNOME actually had a lot of cool idea. So for example, in 2011, they actually introduced .NET through. Okay, so first, one of the first thing is GNOME as when open source companies, even Sun Microsystem, when they do research on human computer interface for open source, the target they test on is actually GNOME desktop. So that's the first one. So as a result, a lot of the work on usabilities and all that on open source platform is on GNOME. So that's the first one. I don't know what's the status now, but that happened. Another thing is when SUSE actually when SUSE actually got bought by Novell. So Novell, they do a firmware, then they decided that their business don't work out, they just turned into SUSE. They bought it and turned into SUSE. Then they actually introduced quite a few things, like they introduced Mono. Then they actually do the live desktop search, which is actually very cool. Then they do a lot of stuff. Amazingly, they actually do a lot of stuff. So which is why they do, I don't know, I think that that's the reason why it's default. So, and of course, a few of the core developers joined Microsoft, but that's another story altogether. So, yep. Thanks for creating a desktop environment that we all use. And yeah, but do test other desktop environment on Linux because you can. So yeah. It's Mr. Robot. I didn't realize that. Interesting. It's on Silicon Valley. So there's no right way. So anything else you want to add on this? If not, I'm going to move on. Okay, so first thing first, AWS SSO. So
What
AWS.
is, what I actually didn't know what the problem is solving. I'm not familiar with.
Okay. So recently, AWS actually switched to Identity Center. It used to be called single sign-on. So what happened then? You actually are using IAM, IAM to create logins. Essentially, you just use it as a single sign-on. So you use IAM to provide the login page. You use IAM policy to manage user policy. Then you use it to actually, IAM actually have the capability to provide to essentially behave like Active Directory type of system, so that they can handle login and pass token back to your system to know whether this person is authorized to do things and whatnot. So AWS IAM can do a lot of these things. So what SSO or even now called Identity Center provide is, IAM mostly is an application framework. All right, they provide components that by default are not integrated. So for example, the IAM policy is the core thing, then user poll is a different thing, then the login system is a different thing. So the user login system is called Cognito. So that provide user pool system as a different pool of user to do things, and then you manage it to IAM. IAM by itself does not actually handle, IAM itself by default does not provide user pool. They only provide policies. This and use IAM only on to manage your own AWS user, right? So then you have Cognito, and Cognito actually provide integration with login system, your Google, your Google integration, your Apple login and whatnot. They can do that. Then they use IAM policy to control the user. So as I said, each of these are components. They never work with each other before. They don't have to work with each other. It's just a component to be used. So what happened then with Identity Center, you put all this together. Now you get yourself the whole SSO experience. So you can use it to manage your application and use it to log in. You should, in theory, integrate with whatever thing that need SSO services, because it's just a standard. They provide a standard way for you to pass credentials to your application. So yeah, in short. So you see here, they actually provide this. Then this is marketing. What I want to show is the okay, so they did not actually show this. This is really marketing shit. So SSS actually identity management, IAM here, then governance feature. Then you just plug into your Active Directory, Okta and whatnot. Everything. Even to say it's easy, that's mostly BS. AWS is never easy. But the point then is you have a product that can be used for you to control your user access. And that's the point really. That's the point really. So yeah lah. So the thing is, some of these tools are actually, as I said, AWS is never easy. So as a result, SSO util actually provide a configuration, the login system, identifier, and cloud formation for you to actually set up your SSO processes using on AWS, so that you can use AWS to manage the whole thing. So most of the time you won't use it. Most of the time you won't use it because if you use AWS, you tend to only use things for managing only AWS users. So not everyone in your company is an AWS user. So, but yet when you do use this, now you have to use the whole thing lah. So yeah. So next one. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Mac terminals. So in the US, the Mac terminals is actually pretty vulnerable. It's offline and there is actually a snapshot. Cool. So there's a CVE and you can. So the concern here is because that thing is a Windows machine. I think that's a Windows terminal. Either and the access is very easy. All you need to do is people not look around. You can plug in a USB and it potentially take over the system. And I do not know how they're going to read from the POS terminal. Because in Malaysia we use a different model. So yeah, so this is actually a concern from the user. So it's pretty scary in a way, but I don't know. Sam say we don't use the same model.
I think it's pretty scary when after so many years and after we are so used to having computer in our hands, that we still treat this computer system as a cost center.
Correct.
And just get it done and you.
Correct.
Just get it done and you'll be fine. No, it's not fine.
Correct. So yeah. So either way, and we actually use that, and we do have the terminal. The only thing I do not know is how does the information transmit between terminal and that computer. That's the only thing I do not know about. Because if we're not careful, then we can do a double charge without showing on the UI, and you probably won't see it until it's too late. So that's another thing lah. And that is probably more real than that. I'm going to quickly go through two things together because we only have 10 minutes.
A bunch of flaws.
Yes.
Flaw. Max Zero Day also, like there's an update today.
Correct.
GPU price drop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, GPU price drop. That's awesome. Yeah.
Apparently the lower end GPU, not lower end, the mid end, like NVIDIA 3060, not even the TI one has enough VRAM to run stable diffusion.
Yes, this is why things.
I think the NVIDIA messed up their VRAM for some of the higher end card as well.
Correct. So let's quickly go through this. So remember, I tell you just now that AWS had the ability for you to manage IAMs, authorization, and all that, through policies and all that. GitHub want to get into actions. So they have the same thing lah. They build entitlements. We use Git repository as source of truth and to declare integration, authorization, and approval with audits. So this is different from AWS because this, other than the fact that this is on GitHub, they also use Git as the core, apparent from what I understand. So use Git repository as a source of truth. So, and what you can do, what they claim to provide is audit, so that you can actually audit the access. You can do reorganization, and also claim for scalability. So they already use it for 500 internal services and hundreds of internal organization. And what you do is, and to actually manage it, you actually do things similar to pull requests, and you can audit it. So I do not know whether this will replace our AWS entitlement, and also if they don't, what's the implication? I do not know how. So I need to investigate this further. To be honest, it does not provide enough thing to entice me over, to be honest. But things may change. So things may change. So this one, entitlement. Then this one is a Realtek had a security network flaw for the devices. Very bad. It's actually disclosed in DEF CON. It's a Stack Overflow with severity score of 9.8 out of 10, which enable remote attacker to execute code without authentication with a specially crafted SIP packet data, right? So it will crash the device, it will execute code and establish backdoor and revert network traffic.
Especially when a lot of the drivers like on your motherboard.
Yep.
Not
Correct.
This means sometimes this is a network chip, but sometimes the motherboard where they do auto updates, right? And those
Correct.
pretty, I don't know, where are they connecting to?
Yes, and also it already can attack a router, and that alone is scary, right? So you're talking about something that intersect your network traffic, do man-in-the-middle attack, etc. So it's pretty bad. So update when you can. I need to update my router soon. So
not using anything Realtek at home, I guess.
I can't tell yet, to be honest. It could be. I need to find out because a lot of these are behind the scenes, so you won't know until you look at the spec really. So
no, I know the spec. I say my build mine.
Okay. So there's a security update. They just tell you the impact. They just give you the CVE and they don't discuss it. So and that's about it lah. So just install the update and get it done. Mac is like that lah. So just that. So yet another security is authorizer.
No, I mean it's not just Mac. You own a Nintendo Switch, right?
Yep.
There's a joke saying that Nintendo Switch is the most stable system in the world because every time is that they are improving the stability.
Correct. Let's call it that. Yes.
It's the most stable. It has the joke.
Yeah, correct. So this is an open source authorization system. So again, it's another alternative. I can use this simply because they provide all these things, social logins and all that, but does not they provide robust access management. So yeah, this is actually a very hot thing for us. We need to use that, but we don't have. We have to be kept. Okay, so what is attractive for me is this is actually third party and do not rely on Amazon, for example, to do things. The only thing is we have to deploy stuff, but come on, in practice, you have to deploy your own software anyway. So this one is deployed on Heroku, and or you can do it on realware.app. I don't know what the hell is this. Of course, you can use Kubernetes and Fly.io for this. So yeah, if you need an alternative authorization, don't build your own. So you can use this, but never build your own, please. Unless you're very confident, yeah, so why not? But yeah, this is something that we can look at. And finally, AWS to further drop price of GeForce 30 series board in the coming week, because there's a new 40 series coming in.
Yeah.
But so that's one, and there is the crypto mining market drop. So yeah, so they only get cheaper. I hope. Maybe it's time
I
for me
think
to upgrade.
it's their
Uh-huh.
own fault.
Correct.
I'm not gonna sympathize with.
Correct. And also, don't buy used mining card. It's broken. To be honest,
Yep.
it's broken
Because
for you.
they change the BIOS to run full all the time,
Correct.
hot and full. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
it
So
might
it's
damage the chip.
correct. So there's no guarantee. So yeah, it's dropped below MSRP. I don't know. My only problem of upgrading my GPU right now is because my CPU may not able to handle it. Because my CPU is a bit old.
No, what the fuck are you talking?
What?
CPU
It's
is old.
bottlenecking. It's bottlenecking. That's
At
the
the
thing.
CPU?
No.
I think it's
I
very
think
seldom we bottleneck at CPU.
really. I need to
Yeah,
find
very
out this stuff.
seldom. It's just most of the time, especially when you use a normal, use it for games and stuff. Often it's bottleneck at the GPU.
Yeah. It's bottleneck at the GPU. Is my CPU doesn't handle enough. Yeah, that's I try to understand that part. But in short, I need to.
Your
I don't know whether
computer,
I want to
your
upgrade.
CPU is not old.
Really?
I have a Hasbro still running.
Okay. Let me find out if I want to upgrade.
I just
I'm still thinking.
upgraded the GPU and then the rest are still fine.
Okay, maybe I just do that. Oh well, I
Unless
don't
you want to
know.
spend, it's fine.
Nah.
Then sell me your old CPU. What? 3000 series or what?
Your CPU info. Is actually it's Ryzen 2 4000G.
It's
It's
not
Ryzen
that
5.
old. It's pretty good as a if you're gonna get a new one because AM4 port is so common is that you can
Yeah,
easily port and make a small home server.
yeah. Oh well. So, and that's about it lah. That's about all our news today.
And
And
our news is enough to last an
cover the
episode.
whole thing. Correct. We only have more and more problems with our computers, and we have more and more command.
I think
Yeah.
because we have most it's not really is that we already relies on a lot on online services.
Yep.
And we are now gradually seeing the reckless habit that we introduced to our
Correct.
system back then. So it's time to
Yes.
change.
Correct. So the way we do things is actually very scary.
And I would say
To be
screw
honest.
enterprise software. They are just security through obscurity. They don't care
Yep.
about security at all.
Correct. So yeah.
It's just a theater.
Yes. As a result, I don't believe in too many apps around. So with that
I
said,
don't believe when a suit person tell me shit about security. So,
yes. Except some of the old hackers that I know actually wearing suits now. Oh well. With that said, thanks for listening. So we try to figure out what to fill in the show next week. Though I really need to create some content soon. Oh well, let's see.
I have
With that
to as
said,
well.
yep. So with that said, we should say goodbye lah. Let me stop my
Night.
screen. Yep. Good night and all that.